Now, a new film documents how Amazon workers at Amazon's JFK 8 Fulfillment Center on Staten Island made history by voting to form the first Amazon union in U.S. history in 2022. The same year, Amazon spent more than $14 million to quash union drives by the company's workers. An NLRB investigation later found Amazon illegally prohibited them from distributing pro-union materials. The documentary is called Union. This is its trailer.
We got to continue to fight because this company has not been held accountable.
Is Chris Smalls. He was fired when he went outside and protested.
You make Amazon $638 million a day. It's time we get paid our fair share.
Cancel all your plans unless it's family related. They ain't family related, we have to tent. Like, we got to.
There's nothing that can stop our momentum. The only thing that's going to stop us is if we stop ourselves.
Right now, Amazon is on their high horse, and we want to punch them in the face.
We should just go in, occupy that training room, and don't even let them hold the meetings.
Can we talk outside?
Hey, you know that's illegal, right? You're not supposed to be doing that.
I'm about to give up.
This is the long haul, right? This is the marathon.
This is our shot to make things better.
The demands of workers at Amazon's JFK 8 Staten Island warehouse included better pay, benefits, and working conditions. In this clip from the film Union, an Amazon union organizer interrupts a mandatory anti-union meeting the company organized.
We're asking you to do 3 simple things. Get the facts, ask questions, and vote no to the union.
So that's the ultimate theme. Remember, your signature is worth something, so protect your signature.
Hi, my name is Natalie. I'm a sort inductor on the ship dock, and I'm actually one of the organizers for the Amazon Labor Union. Just to let you know, the leader of the ALU is Chris Smalls. He was fired last April when he went outside and protested because we were not getting PPE inside the factory, even though we were processing it for the rest of the world. Okay, so him and his friends that also worked here got fired. Okay, so when I say that we put a union out there that is worker-led and is Amazon employees, we have all of you in mind. It's workers protecting workers and standing up for workers. No, and you guys, no. I want to say one more thing. You talk about $1,200. Union busters make $2,000 to $3,000 per day paid by Amazon to sell everybody out.
A clip from the new documentary Union, which opens theatrically in New York this Friday at IFC Center. It's directed by the acclaimed filmmakers Brett Story and Steve Mang. Mang joins us now along with Connor Spence, who's in the film, now president of the Amazon Labor Union, IBT Local 1, a member of the Teamsters. Earlier this year, the ALU affiliated with the International Brotherhood of Teamsters to become ALU-IBT. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! So, Steve, talk about the significance of this film dropping or opening now.
Well, first off, thank you so much for having us. We're huge fans of you and Juan. This is a film that updates a narrative about labor organizing that many have been talking about. We saw a resurgence in labor organizing after almost 50 years of decline in union density. And this was a group of workers in Staten Island, New York, who got together and decided that enough was enough, right? These were workers that have often been called the invisible working class, and that was because they've been largely long been voiceless and disempowered from pushing back, and were in many ways considered by traditional unions unorganizable. This was a $1 trillion company that they took on, and in an incredible feat of organizing and determination, were able to win in a near landslide against Amazon in April of 2022.
And Steve, given that your film centers on labor rights and so many of the streaming platforms these days are controlled by corporations with their own embattled labor histories, like Apple, for instance, or Amazon, what was the response of the distribution platforms, and what did you have to do to get the film out?
Well, we had the great honor of premiering the film at Sundance, actually receiving an award there. We were one documentary among 15,000 that applied to get into that festival. And despite that, we've also had the distinct honor of experiencing what a lot of doc makers have been experiencing in this industry, which is in an attempt to distribute a film that falls into the genre of political cinema, we're dealing with a very corporatized, myopic industry that does not necessarily value narratives like this as much. And so we, much like the Amazon Labor Union, have been charting a more independent course to distribute the film on our own. And it's, in many ways, been a more gratifying and exciting process.
I wanted to go to another clip. In this scene from Union, 3 Amazon union organizers, including Chris Smalls, who would become the first ALU president, are handcuffed, detained by New York police for being on Amazon warehouse property.
Hey, Chris. Like I said, man, I'm going to ask you and anyone who's not an Amazon employee has to leave the premise, please. Anyone who is an Amazon employee, I am not speaking to you. You guys are free to stay.
Okay, but are we in a parking lot that says visitor, right?
You are currently trespassing on Amazon property if you are not an Amazon associate. So anyone here
you didn't answer the question, though. That sign over there says visitor, right? I'm a visitor.
With who? What are you doing here?
I'm visiting with him. They work here.
How long have you been here for, Senator?
A few minutes.
So you're refusing to leave?
No, I said I'm gonna leave when he leaves.
Are you refusing to leave?
I said no, I'm gonna leave when he leaves.
Are you leaving, yes or no?
Yeah, I said yes.
If you're not leaving within the next 2 minutes, you're gonna be arrested.
You have 2 minutes.
Y'all not enforcing no law, y'all just wasting your time.
You have 30 seconds or you're getting arrested. It's very simple.
I'm gonna get arrested? How am I gonna get arrested for? For what? For what? You wanna arrest me for what?
If you do that,
hey, look, man.
Right now you're obstructing police business right now. Back
no, you're not. No, you're not, man. Get up out of here.
No.
What's up? He's a worker. He works here.
What are you doing? Hold on. Stop. Your hands off of him.
So Chris Smalls, who would become the first president of American Labor Union, was arrested there. He had already been fired as an Amazon worker for protesting the lack of COVID protocols. We're joined by Connor Spence, who is the second president of the American Labor Union. You also were fired of the Amazon Labor Union. You also were fired. You were there at that moment.
Yeah.
Talk about how Amazon cracked down on all of you. You still remain today, this Staten Island warehouse, the only unionized warehouse, Amazon unionized warehouse in the country.
Yeah, I mean, we are probably the most surveilled workforce anywhere.
1.5 million workers?
Yeah, and when you're in the warehouse, everything's tracked, every movement you make, the time you're away from your station. And Amazon can really weaponize that against you once you start to unionize. They can find ways to fire you. They found a way to fire Chris when he was protesting the lack of safety protocols during the pandemic. They found a way to fire me for a policy that the NLRB now considers to be illegal and ordered them to rescind nationally. They have a lot of ways that they can retaliate against organizers, and both Chris and I have unfortunately had the police called on us by Amazon, been arrested, never goes anywhere, but it is an intimidation tactic they use. It's a way they try to control the workforce and waste your time and prevent you from being able to organize and talk to people.
Yeah, Connor, I wanted to follow up on that. Because given the fact that Amazon has so many employees, and they are usually in these huge fulfillment centers, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 workers in a place, why it's been so difficult for the organized labor to make any inroads other than in your fulfillment center, your warehouse, in terms of unionizing Amazon?
Yeah, I would say, like, by design, basically it's built to be difficult to organize. The turnover in an Amazon warehouse on average is 150%. So our campus on Staten Island alone churns through about, there's 10,000 workers, so churn through about 15,000 New Yorkers every year. And that's by design. That's not an accident. The average worker stays about 8 months before they quit. They're fired by a computer or they injure themselves. So already going in, that's a difficult task to organize. There's a scene in the documentary where the first time that we had filed for an NLRB election, we needed to sign up 30% of the active employees of the workforce in order to have a sufficient showing of interest to get the NLRB to come do a union election at our warehouse. But by the time we submitted those cards, I think over 1,000 of them were for employees that had been fired or quit since. So already it's a huge task for any union to take on. As far as what made us successful, I would say, a lot of it was endurance. We had a model of organizing that was very much worker to worker. We were inside the warehouse, building relationships with people, creating that sense of community. We started as an independent union, so we were basically a blank slate. There wasn't much Amazon could do to union bust or try to third party and separate people from the union, which is a common tactic that these corporations often try to do. They try to third party the union, make workers feel as though it's something that they're not a part of, they're not responsible for. And so I think a lot of things kind of aligned in our case that we were able to be victorious when it's clearly really a struggle to organize and unionize these warehouses.
We just have 10 seconds. Why did you decide to affiliate with Teamsters?
It's national organizing is too much for an independent union to do by ourselves. And if we want to have a chance of taking Amazon to the table, creating that pressure, there has to be national organizing.